This is TJ Zwarych with the Agents of Fandom, joined by legendary comedy writer, including some of the most iconic Seinfeld episodes of all time, and co-writer, producer of Unfrosted, Spike Feresten. Thank you so much for joining me. Unfrosted features an iconic cast with some absolutely incredible stars making cameos as various historic figures. How did you assemble such a talented group, and was there anyone you wanted to get but couldn't?
All right, let's start there. Daniel Day-Lewis was an obsession of ours. How do we get this, I think now, shoe cobbler to get back into acting and play a part in our movie? That was an obsession of ours from the start, from the first day we started writing, that we never successfully, we couldn't find the guy. We couldn't find Daniel Day-Lewis. We heard rumors. Robert Smigel said, I think Adam Sandler knows. And I said, get me Sandler's number. Sandler said, I don't know. So that was our one big disappointment because we were, you know, I don't want to get into it. I could do a whole interview about Daniel Day-Lewis, but there will be blood was top of mind. Some of those scenes in that movie while we were writing the movie. The rest of it had to do with Jerry and again what Jerry brings. That a lot of folks now out working in comedy never had a chance to work with Jerry on this series, and this might be their only chance to do it. And I think they jumped at the chance. They jumped at the chance to join Jerry in a scene and come on to our production and have fun. And Jerry, by the way, was making a lot of those phone calls himself, which was also cool. And he knows what he wants. And he said early on, I'd like to get our favorite funny people in this movie, whoever that might be, you know. So I said, oh, good. Let's compile a list. And we were like, hey, are you watching Kyle Dunnigan on Instagram? What he does? He goes, yeah, that guy's great. I go, okay. There's one. Melissa McCarthy, of course. Amy Schumer, I know her. What about Hugh Grant? Well, let's see if he's available. And suddenly we're getting auditions from Hugh. It was really, really fun and unique in the sense that most, if not everyone, just said yes right away.
Of all those people you got to work with in and on Unfrosted, who stood out to you personally, your style of comedy as the funniest person to
Oh,
you?
you
Like, who
can't
made
do
you
that to me.
laugh the
What are you
most?
saying? Like, who's your favorite kid?
Yeah, that's exactly what I
I
want to
want to
know.
know out of your five children, who do you love the most? I'm not
You
going to
look,
answer
look,
that.
you love all of them equally. I want to know who you like the most.
I'm being completely honest. Everybody, every day I walked on set, I was laughing every single day. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been cast in our movie. It's really, and I'm being 100% honest. You did not get in the movie if you weren't making us laugh. That's it. And everyone in this movie delivers on every level from top to bottom over and over again. And I laughed at everybody, and it was always on the first day too, because I had never worked with Melissa McCarthy, and she walks on, she starts adding lines in, and we're just dying. We're like, where did that come from? And you start to see why some of these people are where they're at, why they're at the top of their comedy game. And that's true of just about, it's true of everybody on set, including Jerry. That was such a joy.
Film, TV, and comedy have all evolved so much over your decades in the industry, from starting with SNL and Seinfeld, Letterman, and so much more over the years now to Unfrosted. What has been the toughest adaptation for you personally in your writing style over the years?
Uh, I have not adapted in any way. I have adapted zero adaptation because since I started writing Weekend Update back in the day, there was always a framework that culture provided us. And there was broadcast standards too. You can't say these words, but also there was a general feeling like, this is how we all feel about this stuff. And you try to dance on that line. Comedy culture is like a wave that I think if you're writing comedy well or performing comedy, you're always surfing that wave, and you don't get to really dictate the rules of it. You have to kind of conform yourself to the basic rules or not and deal with those consequences, but you just do your thing that way. So, but this movie presented a different interesting question. I mean, forgetting about cultural landmines, it was more about like, hey, I there's a show we all watch called Succession, which is awesome and we love it. but they're calling it a comedy. That's weird. You know, what is that? What do you mean? I'm not sure that's accurate. So for us, that was one of the more interesting, you know, things to talk about was, are we making something that's no longer relevant, or are we making something that no one is doing on purpose and we'll be the only ones out there? You know, we're making what could be considered an old-fashioned comedy, or maybe people, you know, maybe there's a hole we need to fill and we need to make more stuff like this, because Succession's not a comedy. I love it. One of my favorite shows, but it's not a comedy.
There's a recent trend of movies being made about the history of a company, with some that take more creative liberties than others, like Air with of
Right.
course Nike and Jordan, Tetris, BlackBerry, and Flamin' Hot with Cheetos. What inspired the decision to do this with Kellogg's Pop Tarts?
Well, we didn't. Kellogg's didn't know about it. They just found out a week ago that we made a movie about their stuff. I think Post has no idea. Quaker Oats says there are 100 brands in this movie, and we, when we started writing this, never set out to make an origin movie, nor did we really even know what that meant. We wanted to write a Seinfeld episode like comedy about the battle to make the Pop Tart, the real thing that happened, which was Post invented it. They couldn't get it out of the lab because it kept catching fire in the toaster. Really, it did. And Kellogg's had 6 months to catch up. And we went, all right, well, there's the spine of a real story. Now let's just tell the story any way we see fit, like we did in a Seinfeld episode. Like we talked about the Yankees, or we talked about, you know, Jay Peterman's company, or any of these other things we talked about. Again, the goal was just what makes us laugh and what do we think will be funny for our audience.
If you could adapt a movie about another aisle in the grocery store, which would it be? And can we expect maybe a docu-series spin-off featuring the untold secrets of Big Milk?
You know, Christian Slater as a milkman was one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. I mean, again, I'd never worked with Christian Slater before, but when he showed up in that outfit and he was making us laugh really hard. And I'll be honest, I have said to Jerry, you know, if we did do something after this based on the movie, Christian Slater as a milkman, there's something there. And you know, you'll there's a spot in the movie. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. You know where he's standing on his milk truck outside Bob Cabana's lawn and he's got his leg up? That shot kills us. He just did that in one of the takes. It makes us laugh. The silliness of that shot and that stance absolutely kills us. And maybe, maybe.
Get Getting a little silly with it as we close things off here. You're stranded in a grocery store.
Right.
What is your first go-to Pop Tart and your first go-to breakfast cereal?
Mm.
That's one of my favorite things right now is the reboot of all the shows and I loved as a kid. We're getting them in live action. We're getting them redone in animation. And I'm eating cereal every single time as I'm watching this stuff. So what's your go-to?
There's something so good about cereal right around 10 o'clock is really an amazing time. All right.
AM or PM?
Yes, I'm going to be completely candid with you with what's in my kitchen right now. Frosted blueberry, frosted blueberry Pop Tarts, and the Trader Joe's knockoff of the Pop Tart. I'm a very big Trader Joe's fan. Right next to Frosted Flakes with the Trader Joe's knockoff of the Frosted Flakes strawberry iteration with the dried strawberry in it. And then I will mix things up. I like to mix.
I appreciate that. I am a fan of variety myself. I'm a honeycombs guy, maybe some cinnamon
Ooh,
toast crunch. But
yeah.
Unfrosted will stream exclusively on Netflix beginning Friday, May 3rd. Thank you so much for joining me. This will be up on agentsoffandom.com, on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Very nice to meet you.